Greetings, Earthling.
And now, for your listening pleasure, introducing
a relatively unqualified podcast.
Okay, so today we want to talk about a little bit of a sensitive topic and disrespect in marriage. What does that look like? Whether it's unintentional criticism, harsh words, dismissive attitudes. Disrespect can really show up in your marriage anywhere, anytime, any place. And we just want to dive into that and see what that looks like.
And so I guess our question to you is what does disrespect look like to you? What is it for you that makes you tick when it comes to being disrespected from your spouse?
This is a big one. I think disrespect shows up, like I said, so many different ways, and big ways and in small ways. In past relationships, there's been times when I felt incredibly disrespected by my spouse by just the smallest of things, and it really starts deteriorating at your relationship. One of the big things is just being really dismissive of feelings, I think is huge. And I think partners really don't realize it at the time of them doing it. But just, disrespect the feelings of, I don't like this, or this makes me feel a certain way. And you're not taking that into account or consideration. And you can continue to do the thing that seems so innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it may seem innocent to you, and for you, those things aren't, as matter of fact or as disrespectful to you in your eyes. But everybody's got their own situation. Everybody's been through different things in life, and I think there's different avenues that people have taken that have warranted those feelings. And I think we're all entitled to feel the way we feel. I know I grew up a little different than you. So as far as the things that make me feel disrespected versus what would you, with Josh, they're way different. So I think it really is, at the end of the day, you really have to take into consideration. You have to, if you care about that person, take their feelings into consideration, and whether you believe them, understand them, or even want to follow through with them, you do it because you care about that person. And
right.
As hard as that can be, trust me, I've been there. It's not an easy thing to do, but I think when you care about somebody, you're willing to knock those walls down that you have up. So
yeah, 100%. So let's dig into that. So what are some examples of times when you felt disrespected in your relationship, whether it's a current relationship, past relationship with your spouse, or even family member or friend?
It's kind of funny because I'm not very good at telling people how I feel. I'm really good at either making jokes about it, or so my feelings are not something that I like to share. And when I get disrespected, I just end up being quiet. I kind of shut down, and it's easier because I'm a hothead.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a hothead, and it doesn't take much to set me off. So the more that I can walk away from the situation, but it's just being disrespected. It's not taking my feelings into consideration, or the things that I like to do, or I don't mind bending, and for my wife, I will do anything. I do the littlest things for her, and sometimes I want that in return, and you don't always get it. So that's where the disrespect comes in. You're willing to do that for somebody else, but not have it done for you.
Have it reciprocated.
And it's not that that's the intention of going out and doing things for people. I don't go out and do things for people with the idea of receiving back ever. I don't give people money with the intention of receiving my money again. I give it because I have it. I give it, I'll give you the shirt on my back because I have it. But I do, when in a relationship, I do want that same respect. I deserve it. There's a lot of things that that I do out of awkwardness. I don't want to do them half the time, but I do them because I know it makes my wife happy, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. For me, there's a few other things. Like I said, I'm a hothead, so there's quite a bit of things that can set me off. But that's just lack of feelings. I'm not very good at sharing my feelings. So when I do, and I put them out there, and they're basically thrown back in my face, I'm not happy. So that's. What about you?
So where's the line get drawn between if there's disrespect within the marriage and family? Where do you draw the line between those? Family comes first, or in the name of keeping the peace, where does that line get drawn? For example, if a family member is disrespecting your spouse in a certain way, how do you handle a situation like that? Is it, thinking of, oh, but it's family, so let that slide. Like, we don't have to keep ruminating over it or hold the grudge because it's family. But if it's truly, hurting the other person inside, where does that line get drawn? When does it become, disrespectful versus, something that you're just overreacting?
Yeah. That's a hard line. That really is. I think, again, that's something that kind of varies for each person. But I do believe that when you marry somebody, like myself, I was handed over somebody's daughter. So it is my job to protect her at all costs.
Yeah.
She and my daughters come first above anybody else. I love my family, and I totally understand protecting your family. But you have taken, in my situation, have taken another man's daughter, and we're given the permission to protect her. And that's what you should do. And I don't care what is said. If rude comments, okay, for instance, my mom, how I am with my mom.
Yeah.
My mom and I are tight. She's always been my rock.
Yeah.
But my mom says
is
one
an angel
rude
on
thing.
earth.
She is. I will give you. I don't know how the hell I got her, but I will honestly, if she were to disrespect my wife, I'd stand up and say something to her, and I'd be respectful about it at first. If it kept happening, of course, then the situation gets worse. But for me, I know the line is drawn a lot shorter than your line, and I know it's a lot shorter than Josh's line or even Nicole's.
Right.
So it varies, but again, where is that line for you, and how much is enough? It doesn't take very much for me because my wife and my kids are all I have. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be there with me till the end.
Yeah.
No matter what. So my line's pretty short.
Right. In past relationships, I've been on the reciprocating end of being disrespected in my marriage by the small things. For example, I've had situations where my spouse tended to always choose the fun or the drinking buddies over my feelings. To him, it seemed insignificant, and maybe I was overreacting or just being the buzzkill.
Cool.
But for me, it was just, I was made to feel a certain way, and he was not validating that. And, when you go through that a certain amount of times for a length of time, that really starts deteriorating at your marriage. And when your spouse isn't validating your concerns or your feelings, that's a true breakdown in your relationship. It's a true breakdown. And then you start feeling, well, gosh, am I really just overreacting? Am I the problem here?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's the sad part is when you are made to feel that way or you are disrespected, you're questioning your values, you as a whole. Am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? And it sucks. And I think that's the hardest part about disrespecting your spouse is just leaving them in the what ifs.
The what ifs.
That sucks. And I know, I definitely understand that too. I mean, I had a situation with my ex-wife where I didn't even get to go to my niece's first birthday because her and my sister were having a fight. And it was just war of words. And I ended up just opting to not go because I was done with the fight.
And I think that's okay to do. I think that's a boundary being set right there. That's you saying, I understand that, okay, we're family and it's a birthday party, but I'm being made to feel a certain way. And I don't want to put myself in a situation to feel that any longer.
Yeah.
I love you. I respect you, but I don't like how I'm feeling right now. I don't like how you are causing me to feel.
Well, yeah, putting me in the middle of it too. And that was another reason. It was just like, So we sent the gift and we did, I sent it over to her, my niece, but I missed out because of that.
Yeah.
But that was where my line was drawn because I just had enough. It was just easier to not fight, to not be around the situation.
Create the boundary.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think about, them? How do you feel about them undermining your opinions, dismissing or belittling your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas? How does that?
I feel like shit, man. It feels like shit. Like, quite simply put, it's shitty. It's a shitty feeling because, gosh, it just makes you feel so little.
It does.
It makes you feel little and insignificant. And that's something that you should never feel from your partner who's supposed to love you.
No, you should never question your value as a person because of somebody else. And I think,
right.
Unfortunately, a lot of that happens nowadays, and we've seen in the news, people taking their lives because of a heartbreak or something like that. And it's so sad that it has to come to something like that.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that kind of puts me in the mind frame of, the culture we're in right now, or just how society is with the cancel culture. I mean, it's one of the cancel culture for like things on social media or whatever, but you're canceling your family members. I mean, going no contact. How do you feel about that? I have my strong opinions on going no contact with family members because I am on that, further on the side of, family is family, and, we're always going to be family. Family's number one. But I do see where it could be incredibly toxic sometimes in some families and situations. But it's really hard for me to say, you know what? I'm never going to talk to that person again. I'm going to keep that boundary. I'm never going to talk to that person again. That's a hard one for me.
I wish I could say that. And I'm the kind of person that I thoroughly will give anybody all the benefit of the doubt. I will give you chance after chance, but enough's enough, and I will. I got no problem cutting people out of my life, and it's not because I don't love them. I still love the people that I've cut out of my life. I have one of my sisters. I don't have anything to do with her. Yeah. And it's just, it's a family thing, and it's okay. I still ask about her. I still care. I still, make sure that she's doing okay. And but I don't have the capacity to put up with any of the crap or anything anymore. So cutting somebody out of my life is easier than having to have that fallback come on me or have to have that fight, because I'm 46 years old and I'm tired of fighting. I really am. I've spent my whole life fighting against everything, everybody, anybody, authority, myself. So it's easier in a situation that I've found to just walk away.
Yeah, I think you've got a point there, and I can understand that. At a certain point, you get to where you're putting yourself above, just pleasing.
Yeah, and it's more so it's just my own self healing, and and if I can, the whole situation's be done with it. I don't want to fight. I don't want to be a part of it anymore, and I don't necessarily believe in walking away from your problems at all. I've been guilty of that in the past, and I've been really good at it. But it gets you nowhere, because that past will follow you no matter where you go, no matter how it takes time, but it'll catch up. But in situations like this, some things just need to be done, and I'm done, and then I can say it. Now, I have been a part of your family for almost the last 15 years now. Yeah. And I couldn't ask for a better family. And again, I'm really close with my mom and stepdad, and I got a younger sister and a younger brother I'm pretty close with too. But as far as most of my family, that's all. And then I got you guys. So I've been around your family enough to know that I get the family dynamics. I understand how that works, and it's awesome. It is such a great feeling to come from such a small family to such a huge family. And I'm not joking. The very first camp trip I took with you guys was Lake Almanor. There were 78, 80 people there in that big picture. That was my introduction to most of your family right off the bat. I was like, holy shit. Me being a personal guy, I was so overwhelmed, but I get it now, being involved for this long. I get where you guys come from to that, and I understand why, Nicole feels the way that she feels.
We've always been raised with the mindset of, because our family is incredibly large. My dad is one of 11 brothers and sisters. And having a family that big, coming from a family that big, it's really uncommon to be as close as we are.
Oh man.
And that goes back to the family values that my grandparents held on to, and the family values that the older aunts and uncles are holding on to keep our family close. But that doesn't come without its own bullshit. I mean, I think no matter what, every family has their bullshit. And I think to even things out, or for the balance, it's, you have to know when you need to keep a certain amount of distance.
Yeah.
Not totally cut off, but keep a certain amount of distance from the toxicity or the things that you're just not on par with.
Yeah. Oh, and you're right. And I think in my situation, it's probably not the way to handle things. And I think for me, though, that's what protects me and my family. And so, but I understand where you're coming from on that. And I totally get it, especially with your family. I love your family. So it's hard to stay mad at them anyways. We're all a bunch of freaking clowns.
Well, we are pretty cool.
We are. I'll give you that.
Ask any one of us. We'll let you know. We'll tell you. We're fucking badass.
There's no arrogance. There. It's all love. No, and it's funny because now that we're talking about family, it's so unique. The dynamic you guys have.
Yeah, it really is.
Family. And so, yes, like you said, when there is disagreements or when there, it's really hard to navigate, but you guys do such a good job as a family that you say your piece, do your piece, but then you all come back together and you all make it work. And that's what makes it cool. And I think if more people would get on that level and more families could be successful like ours. I mean, look how much we all spend time together. When we do shit right, man. We party like rock stars. I mean, some of us steal golf carts and shit, but that's cool. That's another story for another day.
We won't talk about that. Shut
up. But yeah, I really, to find that line between your family and spouse, I think is a really hard line to draw. But it's a line that you have to draw for yourself.
We could circle back around on that. It's a boundary that you have to have for yourself. Yeah. And when you set a boundary for yourself, and you have made that known to your spouse on what your boundary is, yet your spouse still continues to do the thing, whatever that thing is, that's crossing that boundary. How do you overcome that? How do you confront that with your spouse and get them to see, like, this is really hurting me right now?
That's a great question. That really is hard.
I that's one to unpack there. I don't know the answer to it. I'm just fucking just talking right now. I don't know the answers to anything that we're bringing to light here, but
where's your lines drawn? Where does that line for you? What makes you tick? What's going to be the final straw?
I know, like I said, in past relationships, I was in a relationship with somebody who continued to cross the boundary. Obviously, that relationship didn't work out. That wasn't the only problem in the relationship. That was a big problem, though, on many different levels. Ultimately, that relationship ended. The marriage I'm in right now with Josh is completely different. I know that if there's a boundary and I let him know that, he will not cross it.
But that's because he respects you.
Right.
It's a respect thing.
It's a respect thing.
It really is.
It's
you
respect
respect your spouse.
You respect your spouse. You respect the relationship.
Yep.
You're not going to cross that boundary. Yeah. And if you do, I know that there's times when if a boundary is crossed, whether it's me crossing a boundary for him or him crossing a boundary for me, I know it's being done. He knows it's being done. And we come back around like, hey, I'm sorry about that. Like, I know that was bullshit. And
that's another thing, is saying you're sorry.
Yeah.
Admit your faults.
Acknowledging
all right.
it. Validating.
I've done it a million times with my wife. And, her and I have been through hell and back. We've been together 15 years. So God knows we've walked our lines. But we've also, it's a respect thing. It really comes down to how much you love and respect the relationship, the person you're with. And despite all the things happening, no, I wasn't the best husband. When we were going through our rockiest time, I wasn't. I was selfish. I really was. I was just more focused on the future instead of the moment. And I'd kind of dabble in the past. And so mixing the past with the present wasn't doing me any solid favors. And so I understand, where's that line and how much is enough? We figured out what was enough. But I was also willing to to change my ways.
You have to be willing to
I
put
was
in the
willing
work.
to put in the work to change the things that, the little things that bugged her. So because I love her, I want to be with her. And I honestly, at one point in time, couldn't see myself with anybody else. And I still can't, but that's really what it came down to. And if you care and you love somebody enough, you're going to sacrifice a little about how you feel and what you think is right to accommodate those feelings of your spouse.
Right.
And I'm not saying change everything. I'm just saying you got to bend and twist a little bit. There's a lot of give and take. You know, you've got to be able to give it and take.
You know, that brings me a situation that Josh and I, my husband and I, had in his family. There was a situation that came about with him and his mother that this situation was really hurtful to him. He felt disrespected by his mom, and there was a period of time where him and his mother weren't speaking because of it. There's a lot to unpack with what the situation was, but just to keep it simple for our podcast, is there were things that maybe he was in the wrong about and things that she was in the wrong about. And me being the spouse, I saw both situations. I saw both sides of it. He made the decision. It was better for him to not have contact with his mom for this period of time, or if it wasn't just no contact, it was very little contact. We didn't, see them. We didn't have the barbecues, the family barbecues, and the weekend visits, and the dinners, and holidays were a little sketch, and and for me, it was like, I don't like this, but I see how this is affecting my husband. I can understand his hurt. So I'm going to support him in this. I think a lot of times there's that line of, you know what, that's your thing. And I don't have a problem with this person, and I'm willing to set that aside and still have a relationship with them, or still invite them over for dinner. I wouldn't do that to him because I know that would hurt him.
Yeah. And I think that's where we're kind of coming in. Where's that line for family and spouses? Where do you draw that? Because really, you gotta be supportive. You have to take your spouse's side. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
That's your person. You chose that person.
I agree.
You want to spend your life with that person. That is the person you are there to protect.
I 100%
and I know Josh
agree.
knows.
You're a unit.
Yeah.
You have made those vows to be one soul, one person, a whole. You're a unit. That's your person. Yes, family is family, but your spouse is your spouse. That's who you have committed to. And
you're creating your own family from that spouse. So that person should be the most important person.
Yeah.
I get family, and I love my family, and I love my mama too. I'm a mama's boy through and through. But you disrespect my wife, I'm going to put your ass in check. And I'm sorry. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
That's
whoever
just,
it is.
I don't give a fuck who it is. I will talk shit to anybody. I'm 5'9" and I weigh 210 pounds, and I will talk shit to the biggest fucking guy out there just for disrespecting my wife. So I as far as where I'm at in this topic, I totally support my spouse. And within reason, if they're being overly stupid and dramatic and
then there's the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, then you have that conversation like, hey, these are the things I'm going to point out for you that I'm not jiving with here. And you have that conversation on a personal level with your spouse and try to get them. And hopefully you have a strong enough relationship to where you guys can end up seeing eye to eye on something and making some sort of
meet in the middle, some happy medium. Yeah, there's got to be some, like I said earlier, give and take. You really have to be able to bend a little. There's a lot of compromise.
And the situation that I'm talking about with me and Josh, like we had that conversation. I was up front with him about like, hey, this is what I'm not liking. This is where I see your faults in this situation. But ultimately, like, he's hurting. I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to support him in his hurt.
I think that's supportive enough. Just letting them know, hey, yes, I'm going to back you up, and I'm sorry you're hurting, but this is where you were wrong in that thing. And I think that is an honest communication skills you can use in any kind of marriage. You're not I got your back, but hey, you weren't completely in the fucking wrong. Okay.
Right.
You know, you had a little bit to do with this.
Right.
And God knows I'm guilty of every situation I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of being a huge part of it. And it mostly because I've been scared. I've been angry. I've been, you know, there's a lot of things that happened when I was younger that there's just walls I put up. So, and it's my own damn fault. I can't be mad at anyone. I can be mad at the situation, but I cannot be mad at anyone for the things that were done to me from previous relationships because of how I was. I take ownership in that. And I'm 100% at fault for the things I did. And I'm man enough to admit that. I wasn't then, but, you know, I am who I am now because of the mistakes I made.
Right.
And I am who I am now because of the people that I have myself surrounded with. Like,
And you
know,
learn
and I
from
goes
them.
you, and you're, you know, obviously Josh and your family and my wife. My wife has been, like I said, through our struggles, she's been my rock, really. Even in the dark times, it was the one thing I was holding on to was just her and I. And I truly believe that that's the route you should go. Your spouse should come first.
100%.
And if we're getting on the topic a little bit, I think your spouse should come before your children too. Now, mind you,
I agree with
you
that.
protect your children, but you got your wife or your husband's back because you're the team, you're the unit, you're the one whole that will help.
I 100% agree with that. And I think that's a topic I
another
think
one down the
that's
road.
another topic, and we could probably dig into this further in another podcast with
we
this
will.
because I am so much in agreement with that. Your spouse comes before your kids.
Yeah.
You cannot have a peaceful, happy family unit unless you and your spouse are putting each other first before the kids. Those kids need to see that you guys are number one.
Oh, you're a strong unit.
Yes.
You can't pit each other against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad are one. So one talks to one. Mom and dad are on the same page. We're both no. Yeah. I agree. And, you know, I believe that because at the end of the day, my damn kids are going to leave.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be me
They're
and my
not
wife.
gonna-
So
they don't stick around
to
forever.
hell with them.
They don't stick
No,
around
I didn't mean
forever.
that. I love my
and
babies.
you don't want them to stick around. I mean, that's weird. You don't want to have your kids living in your basement.
No, I
They'll
don't.
get talked about.
No.
I'm just
Although-
saying. They're going to get
although
talked about
Shay-
as the fucking freaks of...
Although Shay keeps telling me she's not moving out.
Shay.
She's not. She's moving wherever mom and dad moved to. So, like, you little shit. Don't you wait?
It's like our jobs as parents is to let our kids spread their wings. Like, we know we've done a good job if our kids leave.
Yes. And I
Right?
keep telling Shay that. I'm only successful when you leave. Plus, when you leave, I want to turn your bedroom into mom and dad's naked room. Yes. Sit naked.
Ooh, the red
Watch
velvet
you.
room. Hell yeah.
Well, you know what? I think we got a couple more minutes here, but I think we're going to kind of wrap it up and we'll kind of end it at that. But when you guys do get a chance to hear this, we'd love some feedback.
Give us some
Definitely, I
feedback,
want to know
yeah.
what goes on. I want to know what
Let
ticks.
us know.
'cause
What are we missing? And I know there's some fucked up families out there.
Shit, we're
I
missing
know
a lot.
that. Like, I'm naive to a certain point, but I know there's some fucked up families out there, and I know there's reason to go no contact, and the toxic runs deep sometimes. But give it to us. Let us know what you think.
I'd love to hear. And if you got any questions for us, I mean, we're doing this because for a lot of reasons, and we'll get into that down the road as well as to why we're doing this podcast. But yes, we definitely want to hear from you. I want some answers. I want some questions. I want it all. I want to know what makes you guys tick. I want to know where your lines are drawn. And, you know, maybe down the
Let's
road, we
unpack
can
it.
use this for another episode for something else, and we can get some questions and answers with you guys involved with us. So we really look forward to hearing from you guys. We look forward to getting these episodes out and getting some feedback.
Thanks
and
a lot, yeah.
thank you for
Thanks
just
for listening.
And we really appreciate your time. So look forward to talking to you soon. We out.
Later.